Welcome to Roanoke County Business Partners. On today's show, we're going to showcase a company headquartered in Roanoke County that's experiencing phenomenal growth. Then we're going to be in the beautiful Catawba Valley, where we're going to talk to two different state organizations that are working together doing some really exciting things. I think you're really going to like today's program.
Welcome to Valley Point. We're in North County and we are visiting Dominion Metallurgical. With me now is President Paul Huffman, and you have a colleague with you. Would you like to introduce Steve?
Yes, this is Steve Hagelson. He's our business manager at Dominion Metallurgical.
Yes, Steve and I have met before, so it's great to have both of you on the program. I think the thing that's most intriguing to us right now is how unique Dominion Metallurgical is. And there's a lot of things that make you unique, one of those being that since your inception in 1992, your sales and your customer growth has grown very impressively, except for 1 year due to a bad economy. So what makes you unique, Paul?
We're very unique. We are atypical when it comes to the supply of metal components to industry. We are considered a general contractor and engineering company. So a typical client of ours would be a Fortune 500 heavy manufacturer that designs heavy components, heavy equipment. We go into those companies, help them to design their components for ease of manufacturability, even down to alloy selection, material selection. Then we source these parts for our customers. We may source them here locally around the Roanoke Valley to internationally, but we then act as a general contractor when we supply these metal components. They could be cast, forged, machined, all types of different processes, extrusion, powder metallurgy, machined on top of that, painted, and then we take turnkey responsibility for the product.
That's a mouthful.
It is.
That's a lot. But it also shows that there's a huge demand in the market, right?
There is a demand. A number of years ago, we like to say 20 or 30 years ago, it would have been much more difficult to have a company like ours. There was more expertise in the industry on how parts are made. We fill that void, that vacuum that's been created in the last couple of decades.
And we're glad you do.
Well, we're glad to be here.
But doesn't that present a real challenge for Steve in business development to come into a company that has the track record you've got?
Well, I think it has, Melinda. There's been some unique challenges associated with the types of products that are being produced. Anything from a very small, a couple ounce casting up to thousands of pounds. Right. Also trying to find and be able to service the need that Paul mentioned that's out in the industry right now. Dominion Metallurgical has a great connection of technical and engineering people, some longtime foundrymen that are able to provide a unique service. The demand out there right now is greater than the supply, so the challenge is to figure out how we can support that. At the same time,
you're obviously doing that.
Well, we're trying.
Well, my congrats on that. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And for our viewing audience that probably really doesn't understand what forging is, because you don't have a forge out here at Valley Point. You do castings, you do prototypes, all the way to the other end of the spectrum where you're doing failure analysis, you can serve as expert witnesses in a court setting and all, but you have a demonstration that I think will really help us.
We're going to have a little fun. We've prepared a little demo for you, and if we could, we'll move to the warehouse and show you.
We're in the warehouse back at Dominion Metallurgical. And Paul, you're going to show us what it is you do with Foundry in a Box, right?
Yeah, we've got a little fun demonstration set up where we're going to demonstrate the process of metal castings.
Okay.
Linda, we'd like to take this into schools, local Boy Scout troops, civic organizations, and actually show kids the process of metal castings. The purpose of it is to excite them a little bit of our engineering field, and who knows, maybe someday one of those Boy Scouts can be the next great metallurgist in our foundry industry.
Absolutely, and they need to come from Roanoke County.
Yes.
All right, let's make sure that happens.
We have created a little permanent mold. You can kind of see the impressions, the negatives there, that the molten metal is going to feel to produce this casting. So I'm going to turn this over to Mike Cooper, who's our quality manager at Dominion Metallurgical, and he is going to actually demonstrate this. We have produced a special little billet of metal that melts at a very low temperature. It's about the size of a hockey puck.
That's heavy.
As you can see, very, very heavy.
Yeah.
It's an alloy of tin and bismuth. And we have melted this up to about 200, 210 degrees.
Okay.
And what Mike is going to do, and I'm going to put my safety glasses on right here,
I'm going to stand behind you.
is going to pour this mold that you saw.
Wow.
Now, when you see molten metal, when you see metal flow just like water, it's easy to get excited about.
Yeah.
When engine blocks in an automobile are formed by this process, crankshafts in in a boat or automobile are formed like this. So
I don't think people think about where all your applications are.
I like to tell people you're normally only about 30 feet from the nearest metal casting, no matter where you're standing.
Well, tell us some of your big clients that our viewers will know.
We are heavy into a variety of different industries. We are large into the HVAC industry. In fact, we have castings on the QE2 cruise ship that runs the air conditioning system there.
Yeah, that's great.
Electric motors, electrical power and transmission, we produce a lot of casting into. Heavy cranes, we're large into mining and construction. Some of the big industries are like Danaher, Tyco, people like that.
Dover Elevator.
Dover Elevator.
And you even have one locally.
We have a number of foot levelers we produce castings for and plastic components for.
Okay, now is Mike ready for us now?
The casting now has gone from a liquid to a solid state. It has solidified.
How much time did that take?
It probably took about a half a minute.
Half a minute. That's amazing.
And he's going to split the mold apart. And what you can see there, it may be tough to pick up on the camera until Mike ejects this, but you'll see the actual casting that's been produced with the down sprue that's fed into that impression. And he'll just pry that out. It's still kind of hot, but you can see he has produced now a little medallion that looks like this.
Wow.
And if you like to zoom in a little bit onto this side, this is actually an impression of the Skipper cannon, the cannon at Virginia Tech that we probably heard fire off at the football games there.
Exactly.
We have a special little connection to that.
We're going to be seeing that again soon, aren't we?
Yes, hopefully.
That's right. Well, Mike, thank you. We appreciate that. And I think we're going to go over now. Help me defect inspection now.
We're going to take you over to meet our materials engineer, Emily Taylor.
All right, let's go. Paul, please introduce Emily and tell us what she's doing with defects, okay?
Certainly. This is Emily Taylor. She's our materials engineer with both Dominion Metallurgical and our safety step business, which we'll talk about later. She is doing some failure analysis on an iron component, which is cast that actually goes into gasoline pumps. And what she is doing right now is trying to determine what type of defect is in the part, and then we determine the root cause of those defects to help the foundry solve those problems for future production.
Okay. Well, that's pretty big hats that she's wearing too, you know.
She wears two very big hats with our company.
Well, Emily, thank you for helping us. So let's look at this.
This is an interesting part. Again, showing a casting that was produced for.
This is huge.
This is a large aluminum casting that's produced for an HVAC application.
Right.
And I don't know if you can see this on top, but it has a defect right up here on the top of the casting. That is actually caused by gas coming off of internal core that produces the core passages in there, rises to the top. The molten metal solidifies around that gas bubble, creating that defect.
And then what do you do with this when you find the defect?
Well, that would be remelted. The great thing about the foundry industry is we can take our mistakes, we can put them back in the furnace, remelt them, and make a good one out of it.
I like recycling, I do. And so Emily is looking for defects on a smaller scale with this.
Yes, for this casting.
Thank you both. We appreciate that. And now I think we need to go talk about VT Fire.
Let's do it.
All right. A whole decade went into making a project happen called VT Fire. What does it stand for?
VT Fire is an acronym for Virginia Tech Foundry Institute of Research and Education. We had this idea about a decade ago, as you mentioned, to build a state-of-the-art teaching and research foundry at Virginia Tech. Very long process, but we finally gathered steam and, as you know, made it reality, breaking ground and pouring late last year and having the dedication in April.
That's great. And we were at the dedication in April. In fact, we have 3 clips. Joining me now is Dean Richard Benson. He's from the College of Engineering. Dean Benson, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
This is very special to us
Oh, yeah.
because of Dominion Metallurgical's involvement with
Sure.
Virginia Tech and
Right.
all this coming together with
Yes.
VT Fire.
Yes.
What is the importance of this foundry and this research to Virginia Tech?
Well, it's important. We have always been known for our hands-on education. In fact, our motto is hands-on, minds-on education. We're very, very proud of it.
Yes.
This foundry facility is unique in the country. There's a few others, but nothing that can compare to this. And even though the foundry industry is an old one, going back hundreds of years, the fact is we're always doing new and interesting things with new materials, very exotic parts. You know, it's a crucial technology, for example, in making jet engines. So it's very modern, and yet very few engineering students anywhere have the ability to have this kind of hands-on education before they graduate.
It's a very exciting day, not only for Virginia Tech, but for the American foundry industry. This has been a project that's been in the works for over a decade. It's been a cumulative effort not only for academia that you've seen here, but also in our wonderful foundry industry.
Well, the benefits to the students are many. First of all, this is probably the first facility at Virginia Tech that allows us to bridge art with engineering, and this is very good. It allows the engineering students to come in and use the facility for making high-tech materials. It allows the art students to come in and make very beautiful things for us to all enjoy.
And to use the molds and
Use the molds and all of the other high-tech machinery that we have here for doing things that they wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
The College of Architecture, the College of Engineering, physical plant, and within engineering, industrial engineering, material science and engineering. Without Bob, he kept us on track. He kept the university on track, tying in with industry.
Yeah. Well, I think the fundamental contribution really was developing the funding model. We struggled for many years trying to figure out how to do this. We knew 10 years ago that it was going to cost a couple of $1 million.
Yeah.
And the problem was, especially with the economy the way it is, how are you going to figure out how to pay for something? Where does $2 million come from in an industry that in the area was struggling? You know what's happened to internet.
We also could not have launched this in a worse time at the Great
with
Recession.
the economy, exactly.
But it just gave a tribute to what industry and what Virginia Tech has done to be able to pull this off in an economy like this.
And so when we came up with the idea as to how to do this, David asked me to make a presentation to the Department Advisory Board, and on which Paul is a member and John is a member, and we ended up involving mechanical engineering and industrial engineering from the point of view of design of parts and running of a process.
I heard there was a relationship to the Ware Lab.
Yeah, well, we hope so.
Yes.
And then the material science people are the people who understand all of the metallurgy of what's going on as metals solidify. But it's the industrial engineers who know how to develop a process and make parts efficiently and hopefully for a profit. To the best of my knowledge, we are the only program in the country that is trying to, on an equal footing, mix art, metal sculpture, and the product design people are not in engineering. Product design is a department within the College of Architecture. And so and I was surprised to learn how much architects are interested in the possibility of metal casting.
I think you said he was the spearhead behind the project.
He was really what made it happen at Virginia Tech, and he has a passion like we do in our industry. We wanted to create a wonderful educational experience for the young metallurgical engineers coming through Virginia Tech, and we think we've done that.
And you also did it for art students and other disciplines. So it's a fabulous project. How does it affect your industry?
It affects our industry because it's going to be the lifeblood of our industry in decades to come. It's a global economy. We are competing with foundry industries all over the country, all over the world. And we have to have a steady stream of engineers helping us to in that competition.
Right. There's a relationship with Virginia Tech. There's also a relationship on the wall behind us. Would you like to explain this?
This is a lot of fun, too. If you can see here, these are two wooden patterns of cannons that were in use at Virginia Tech. The one on the bottom, the black one there, was the original Skipper cannon that was introduced by my father in conjunction with Homer Hickam and several of the Corps cadets back then in the 60s. And then in the 80s, we produced Skipper number 2 that's in use today, and that's the red one on top.
Well, thank you for sharing that and about Skipper. And I wanted to bring up one thing that you talked about that I found so fascinating. You said when your colleagues and you are out in the world, you know, working for Dominion Metallurgical, that you stumble into ideas.
All the time.
And those ideas turn into businesses. And one of those was Safety Step. So would you mind giving us a little tour?
We'd love to show you that.
Okay, let's go. Paul and I have now come to Safety Step. Paul, you have another colleague with you. Would you please introduce Anna?
I'm looking forward to introducing Anna Gardapi, who is our Marketing and Sales Director for Safety Step.
Wonderful. I think you really caught my attention on Safety Step when you started telling me the types of clients. You mentioned Disney, MGM. Who am I leaving out? I mean, it's very impressive.
We have a very diverse book of customers. We sell to Granger, we sell to Norfolk and Southern, we sell to lots of municipalities for schools, as well as Roanoke County here.
Okay.
So we have a very diverse book of customers.
You say that this is the safest step stool in the industry. How can you make that claim?
Well, we really are. We manufacture our step stools to not only be the safest, but the highest quality product that you can buy in the industry. We compression test, and there's a picture of the compression test that we do on our products. We send them to an independent lab in Richmond, Virginia. The interesting thing about them is even this small step right here, our universal, it weighs 4.5 pounds, and even this one will hold 1,000 pounds.
1,000?
1,000 pounds. When we're talking about the safety features that we design our products with, again, all of our products will have the same key safety features. For example, they all have the non-skid strips on the platform.
Right.
So no matter what the environment you are using it in, if it's wet, you're not going to slip off of the step stool. We have several leg tips. They're angled. The angled leg tip is going to increase the footprint on the ground, which means that you've got more coverage. And we actually designed these specifically for our step stools. And you can see right down to the finest detail, we have a washer that's embedded in that leg tip. So that you don't ever have to worry about the leg of your step stool poking through that.
And I noticed you also have a handle on one of your step stools.
We do. That is our handle step stool, and that's very popular in the medical industry, but also for household applications as well.
It makes perfect sense to me.
Now, the most interesting feature of our step stool is that they are an anti-tip design, and you can see that by the way the legs actually angle out slightly further than the platform of the step.
As you can see here, I can get on any edge and even cantilever out here and not tip the step stool over. So it's completely safe no matter where you stand on this.
And then we also have our folding step stool, and one of the safety features about our folding step stool is the legs will actually lock into place. So if you're standing on this step stool, you don't ever have to worry about it collapsing on you. And then when you're finished, you just fold the leg down and it stores away nice and easily.
But 1,000 pounds?
1,000 pound weight capacity. Any of these products that you see here will hold 1,000 pounds.
Okay. Let's see you do it.
Well, let me get up first.
Well, I don't think we'd make 1,000 pounds, but we could try.
I don't think we're 1,000 pounds.
And then notice how we're standing on the edge and it's not going anywhere.
This is great. I mean, there was no movement, nothing. Okay. All right. Well, why don't y'all join me?
Okay.
We'll be right back.
We're at the Catawba Hospital today, and with me is Mitch Mitchell. Mitch is the Chief Executive Officer of the hospital and the hospital director. Thanks for being with us today, Mitch.
Thank you for being here.
This is certainly a beautiful, beautiful campus here in the Catawba Valley. Let's take a walk and see some of it while we start the interview.
Okay.
Good. Let's get going by maybe talking about the history of the hospital and how this facility came to be.
Yeah, it really has an interesting history that a lot of people aren't aware of. This was originally a Mineral Springs resort in the late 1800s, Catawba Red Sulphur Springs. Because of its roots in healing and the supposedly curative powers of the waters that the people would come here to take, when there was a major tuberculosis outbreak in the early 1900s, it became a hospital at that point for that specialized in the treatment of tuberculosis. Really became one of the premier tuberculosis treatment facilities in the state and in the country. A lot of research around tuberculosis. was done here. In the late 60s, as more modern treatments for tuberculosis came to the fore, and there was less need to isolate folks with tuberculosis, we had the first transfer of folks with mental illness from other state hospitals here, where they were rehabilitated to return to the community. Prior to that, folks had spent long periods of time hospitalized. So we really began our history of psychiatric treatment really as a rehabilitation center to prepare people to go back to the community.
Walt, that was the past of the hospital. Let's talk about the services you provide now.
Well, currently we have 110 beds. We provide acute inpatient psychiatric services. 60 of those 110 beds are for people 65 years of age and older. We serve a really large geographic area for those folks. Literally from the West Virginia line up near Winchester to the North Carolina line down near Martinsville, Henry County, and all the way down the Shenandoah Valley. For our 50 adult patients, we serve a smaller geographic area, the Roanoke Valley, Roanoke City County, along with Botetourt, Craig, and Allegheny counties.
Well, with all so 110 patients, you must have a lot of employees to take care of those patients.
We do, given that any hospital operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We have 250 full-time employees. We have about another 35 part-time employees that really encompass both professional and support services, along with psychiatrists, medical doctors, nurses, social workers, psychologists. We also have folks who buildings and grounds, food service, fiscal services, things like that support the operations of the hospital.
So with 250 employees, and then, as you say, the vendors and the spin-off from that, your budget is how much a year?
Our budget is a little over $20 million a year, so obviously it has some economic impact in this area.
Has a huge economic impact, and you're obviously the largest employer in this part of the county, and you have been for a while.
Well, and not only for this county, but we have a large part of our workforce from Craig County on into the New River Valley, so it's not just the Roanoke Valley, but surrounding areas as well.
Big outreach. So Walt, you have a big impact on the community. Another project that has a beginning to have a big impact is the Catawba Sustainability Center. Our next segment is going to be down there at the farmers market. That's a state facility too, and so tell us about the history. I think they actually got their start from the beginnings of this institution.
That's correct. Actually, the property there that is used for the sustainability project now was the Catawba Hospital Dairy Farm at one time. And there was a time when this campus was fully self-sufficient back in the TB sanatorium days. We had our own crop farms, had our own dairy farm, really interesting history. When that became less viable, we transferred that property to Virginia Tech. They've retained it during the years, used it as a farm for their agriculture programs at one point, but now are using it with the Sustainability Center, and we're very pleased that they're doing that, and we're pleased to be part of that.
I know you have a seedling program, you have a horticulture, and you have greenhouses here. How's that interacting?
We have a horticulture therapy program that's actually, we've worked with Christy Gabbard down at the Sustainability Project, and we're actually working with planting seedlings that are then going into being distributed to the farmers in the area, that are then going into producing things that are sold at the Sustainability Center at the farmers market.
And aids with their research that they're doing at Virginia Tech. Well, we've certainly learned about the history of this facility. What about the future? How do you see things going this point forward?
Well, we're very optimistic at this point. The demand for services continues to increase. We work closely with our community partners, Carilion Roanoke Memorial, Lewis Gale Hospitals, literally on a daily basis to make sure that the folks who need services in this area can access services here at Catawba. We also have a lot of other community partners that we work with, Blue Ridge Behavioral Health Care, folks like that are very vital to our future.
Good. Well, we certainly appreciate you being with us, Mitch, and stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Roanoke County Business Partners. Today we're at the Catawba Farmers Market. I'm with Christy Gabbard. She's the director of VT Earthworks, and Lindsay Newsom, the new Farmers Market manager. Welcome.
Thank you, Doug.
Christy, we started working with VT Earthworks in Roanoke County last year, and our relationship's really been evolving quickly. Tell our viewers what news coming online.
Yeah, sure. VT Earthworks, I think it helps to kind of give you a little background about what VT Earthworks is, and it's a business incubation program for ag and natural resource-based businesses. So we try to provide business development support services for agricultural businesses and natural resource-based businesses. And this year we've been, thanks in large part to the support that we've gotten from Roanoke County, we've been able to host a number of training opportunities for ag businesses, a workshop for cut flowers and cut flower producers, and we've also been providing space for new growers at the Catawba Sustainability Center. One group is a group of Somali Bantu refugees that live in Roanoke, and they are just starting their farm business, growing produce, and will be selling at the farmers market here in the next few weeks.
Good. So I think a lot of viewers are familiar with business incubation programs or traditional ones. This is an ag-based incubation program. One of the exciting things is where we are right now, the farmers market. Lindsay, this is your first year, your first season. Tell us about what's going on this summer.
Well, this year we are at the community center, the Catawba Valley Community Center, and we are here every Thursday, 3:30 to 6:30 from May through October. This year we have about 25 vendors, and we're going to be doing I have a bunch of special events planned for this year. We have musicians a lot of times. We give away a free market basket once a month. And then I'm also planning Kids Gardening Day, Senior Citizens Day, and we have a pottery demonstration too every week.
So there's a real diverse group out here, and we got music in the background. Christy, I know you're going to be involved with the community more and more too, with the markets at the community center here, the county center, but you're going to be located here some too.
That's correct. We, partnering with Roanoke County, we're going to have office space here at the Catawba Community Center, and we're real excited about that because, again, we have a large farm right next door, and to be able to be located here next to the property allows us to provide more services to the businesses that we support.
That farm being the Catawba Sustainability Center from
exactly
Virginia
right.
Tech.
That's
well,
right.
Thank you, ladies, for being with us. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I'd like to end the show by thanking Paul Huffman and Steve Hegelson with Dominion Metallurgical and Anna Gardapi with Safety Step, and also Mitch Mitchell with Catawba Hospital and Christy Gabbard with VT Earthworks. We really appreciate them being part of the show. If you'd like to be part of the show, please dial 540-772-2185. And thanks again for joining us for Roanoke County Business Partners.